Recently, we were talking about the mirror image entries of cash book and passbook. Let's have a look how the entries reflect in passbook and cash book. For example, cash deposited in bank. Let's see how this entry will be reflected or shown in the firm. First of all, the journal entry will be made. We are going to assume that all transactions are converted into journal entries first. Then they are recorded in the cash book. So the journal entry in the books of firm will be, suppose the name of the firm is X and Company. That will be bank account debit to cash account 1000 rupees. But on the other hand, the bank will be showing cash account debit to X and Company 1000. And in the bank account, I am not making cash book, 3-column cash book, just in the bank account, in the firm, the entry will be to cash account rupees 1000. This will be the ledger posting in the bank account. But on the other hand, X and Company, that will show in its books X and Company ledger, and on credit side by cash account rupees 1000. This will be the ledger posting in the books of bank. Or you can say in their passbook, this transaction will be shown in this way: by cash, and in the plus or credit item 1000. So in this way you will see that 1000 has been shown in the debit side of bank account in the books of firm, but it has been shown as a credit entry in the books of bank, I mean to say passbook. Number 2, check issued to A. Naturally, check is always issued by the firm, not bank, for 1100. So let's see how the X and Company, I mean to say the firm, will show this entry in the books. That will be, the journal entry will be A to bank 1100. And in the cash book, or you can say bank column, by A 1100 in the bank column. But the bank will show the journal entry will be X and Company to cash 1100, because when this check is presented by A in the bank, bank will have to pay cash. When the bank pays cash, the entry will be X and Company to cash. It means 1100 has been paid on behalf of X and Company. And in the ledger posting of bank, or you can say the entry in the passbook will be to cash 1100. 1100 will be on the debit side, or you can say minus item. Number 3, check received from cash sales 1200. It means the firm has sold goods and the customer has paid 1200 to the firm. So what will be the journal entry in the books of firm? That will be bank account debit to sales 1200. And in the cash book on debit side, that will be to sales 1200 in the bank column. But in the books of bank, the journal entry will be cash account debit to X and Company 1200. It means they have received 1200 on behalf of X and Company. Let's see how this entry will be reflected in the passbook. You know, passbook is the simply photocopy of the ledger maintained by bank. So that will be on the top X and Company, and that will be by check realized, and 1200 in the plus items, or you can say credit items. So you have seen that this 1200 is on the debit side of cash book, means the firm has debited 1200. But on the other hand, this is a credit item for bank. It means bank has credited 1200 in the ledger. Number 4, rent paid directly by bank 1300. It means actually the rent is to be paid by the customer to the landlord. So we can assume safely that the customer instructed the bank to pay 1300 to the landlord on the behalf of customer. So how the journal entry will be made in the books of X and Company, means firm? that will be a rent account debit to bank 1300, and in the cash book on minus side or credit side they will write down by rent 1300 in the bank column. Let's see how the bank will reflect this entry in its books. The journal entry will be X and company to cash 1300. It means bank has paid 1300 to the landlord on behalf of X and company. So the bank will write down X and company to cash 1300, and in their passbook the entry will be to party 1300 in the debit side or minus side. So in this way you can see the firm has credited 1300 in its books, but the bank has debited 1300 in its books. Number 5. Interest paid by bank to customers on deposit. You know, if there is deposit by the customer in the bank, bank usually pays interest on the deposit, and it is an income for the firm but expense for the bank. And this money is not paid cash to the customer. This money is deposited in the account of customer. So in the books of X and company, the journal entry will be bank account debit to interest 1400, and in the cash book on debit side to interest 1400. Let's see how the bank is treating this entry. Interest account debit to X and company 1400, and in the passbook by interest 1400 on the credit side, means plus side. Number 6. Bank charges. You know, bank charge something every year or after 6 months or on monthly basis for its services, and they are called bank charges. Bank charges are income for the bank but expense for the firm. In the books of firm it will be bank charges account debit to bank 1500, and in the cash book by bank charges 1500 in the bank column. But in the books of bank the journal entry will be X and company to bank charges 1500, and in the passbook X and company at the top to bank charges 1500 on the debit side, means minus side. So you can see that how the transactions or journal entries or entries are reflected in the books of firm as well as in the books of bank. For the same transaction, if anything is debited in the books of firm, the same thing is credited in the books of bank.